The following is a special presentation of Conifer Radio, our continuing series of Conifer Podcast. Conifer Podcast presents the true life stories of our U.S. Highway 285 corridor and Evergreen residents, their remarkable contributions to our community, and their encouragement to us all. We continue this week with Ms. Michele Robbins, owner, creator of RPM Agency Insurance Brokerage of Evergreen, Colorado, and a Conifer Podcast recording from November 4th, 2020. Conifer Radio offers its gratitude to Michele as a founding supporter of Conifer Radio. Your new community radio station would not have been possible without Michele and her team's support. Welcome to Podcast and our featured guest today, Ms. Michele Robbins, owner of RPM Insurance Agency. Today's feature is about Michele and her daughter Kristen's journey with the development of RPM Insurance Agency and their contributions to our mountain communities. Michele, welcome, and let's begin with you. Why don't you tell our local communities, our listeners, a little about you and RPM Agency.
Well, first, Mark, I'm very happy to be here today. It is a true pleasure to support Conifer Radio as a founding sponsor. I applaud your effort to keep our residents informed and entertained with a locally produced radio station. Thank you. Evergreen has always been my home. My husband and I have been connected to the mountain community since 1979 when we moved here, bought a house, and raised our family. Even when job opportunities took us out of the area for a time, we traveled to Evergreen on a regular basis, knowing all along we would return full-time again.
So what was the draw to Evergreen for you and your husband? What was the fun factor that brought you here?
My husband's grandmother's summer home was on Bear Creek, and so he'd been coming since 1963. And he introduced me to Evergreen and Colorado for the first time right before we were married in '79. I remember looking at picture books as a teenager of the East Coast with fall foliage and different temperatures, and all I knew is I wanted to live there. I didn't know there was actually going to be Evergreen, Colorado. I got all 4 seasons. I get everything I love. I'm in heaven here. That's what my draw was.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your professional background and then why you've arrived to where you are.
Okay. I was actually an IT professional for nearly 30 years. I worked with mostly Fortune 100 clients. I helped them to figure out gaps in their business. I found technology solutions to correct issues they were having. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. But at some point, I really wanted to own my own business. And when someone finally introduced me to insurance, nobody ever dreams that they're going to be in insurance when they grow up. Somebody introduced me into insurance, and I walked away from that meeting knocking on my head going, why was this never on my radar? It's everything I did with my Fortune 100 clients. I gave so much customer attention. There was so much customer care. There was so much that I did for them that I thought, I can do this for clients if I had my own agency. And that's where I made my pivot turn. I became an insurance agent. I was actually a farmer's agent in Plano, Texas. When my husband retired from Southwest Airlines, that's when we knew we could come home. We thought we were going to be stuck in Texas because my kids kept having babies in Arkansas. They ultimately ended up coming home before we did. So we were so happy that this is where we wanted to end our lives. This is where we wanted to come back home. And with kids and grandkids here, it was the perfect opportunity to make a change. So my daughter and I started an insurance brokerage from scratch, RPM Agency. We decided that being a broker was going to be a whole lot better than working for one company, and that's what we did.
And your daughter's actively involved now in helping to run the company, I understand.
She is my business partner. She absolutely is active. Kristen does the operational end, and I'm on sales and marketing. It is a perfect complement for each other. I remember having a conversation with Kristen early on when we got here that it was after another happy hour or lunch with somebody. And I came back to the office to say, Kristen, I know it seems like I'm just doing a lot of fun stuff, which it was fun to me. But before I could finish saying anything, Kristen interrupted and said, Mom, I get it. I could do what you're doing, but I'm only 10% as effective. And I thought, well, that's perfect because I can do what you're doing. I did it, but it takes me 10 times longer. So we're in our perfect roles with each other. I work with the public. I work with businesses. I work to help find gaps in other people's businesses. Where do they need help? What can I do to make a difference? And my daughter does all the operational end on the other side.
Perfect harmony. It sounds like you both have your sweet spots.
We do.
Now, you are located in downtown Evergreen. Is that correct?
Right across the street from Cactus Jacks.
It's a beautiful location. Now, how did you arrive there?
We wanted to be downtown Evergreen. We wanted to be part of the Downtown Business Association. We loved the building we found. We liked that it was newer, and that's difficult to find. My clients can park in covered parking, which is rare. They can get to our upper level with an elevator, which is rare. And there's air conditioning in the summer, which is rare. We like our spot.
Beautiful location. Beautiful. Let's talk a little bit about your mission and your vision for our mountain communities here. You've struck me as a true emerging leader for the area. Talk about your vision. Talk about your mission.
I appreciate your perspective. And that does mean a lot because we thought a lot about our mission and vision statement and our value statement. It does mean a lot to us. Our vision is to be the most admired, most referred, and most community-involved agency in Colorado. That means a lot to us. The community involvement part is huge. Our purpose is to help people and businesses protect what matters most to them. That's just part of our tagline. Our mission statement is to provide authentic, genuine, and consistent care and service for our employees and our customers. And it's really funny because we'll have a lot of references to Southwest Airlines because of my husband's working there for so long. I remember Herb Kelleher making a comment in CEO magazine in the 80s when he was asked, how do you do such good customer service? And he said, I don't do customer service. That's not what I do. My employees have good customer service. He said, so long as I'm taking care of my employees, they're providing the best customer service for anyone. So in our mission statement, I very meticulously put employees first over the customers. They are not slighted in this in the least. I just want my employees listed first because I need to remember my focus is to take care of my employees, and if I'm doing the right thing with my employees, my customers are going to be getting the best care possible. As we successfully carry out our mission, I believe we are establishing RPM Agency as a vital, accountable, and impactful partner for local businesses and families in our community. That's what truly motivates me each day.
Michele, tell us what's important to those you protect.
It's important to me personally and to RPM Agency to help people protect what matters most to them. Give you an example of what we do that's different to accommodate that is we offer our clients a complimentary video recording of their home possessions. I did some research when I first came into this whole world of insurance, and I learned that 10% of the general public knows that they should have a record of their belongings. But what was really alarming to me is only 1% actually does it. Only 1% actually makes a recording of some kind of their belongings. RPM works with clients to create a comprehensive record that clearly proves the value of what they own. We're a third-party validator for our clients if they ever experience a loss. It's amazing because I've even had the unfortunate experience of an adjuster for my clients who had to get the record of their belongings. They always come back to me with the same thing. Michele, you just made me a hero. I get to give them every single thing they say, and you've provided the complete proof of all of it. It matters. Not everyone understands they need to do this. It matters. It matters so much that just recently I received a text from a client who was in the process of evacuating her home during the Elephant Butte fire. In the middle of everything, in the middle of her evacuation, she is so compelled to reach out to me to let me know that she's being evacuated. She could lose everything she has, and all she could think of was, thank God you were here last week. I'm so glad you were here. Thank you for coming by. We have a record of everything. Thank goodness. Thank you. It matters. Fortunately, our client was able to return home safely with peace of mind that if the worst had happened, she would have been protected.
That has to be rewarding to hear things like that from your clients.
It is. It does matter.
Good for you. it's a great segue into the next question here, and that is how you differentiate RPM from other insurance agencies or providers.
Well, the biggest thing is we're insurance brokers. This means that our focus is on serving our customers, not answering to a particular insurance carrier or meeting monthly quotas. It's a whole different gig. When you're a broker and you have appointments with multiple carriers, it means I'm putting the best solution, the best value in front of my clients every single time. I'm not going with one carrier and one product every single time. I'm pulling from dozens and dozens of choices. We're completely motivated by serving our clients. At RPM, we work with each client to assess their unique needs and design an insurance plan that's responsive, comprehensive, cost-effective. It's perfect for them. We don't use templates. I don't throw everything into one template form and spit it out and it's the same thing for everybody. Every single quote we put together is completely customized. We have working relationships with many national carriers. Everything is transparent, side-by-side comparison. We show everything there is. We pull all their current information with a line-by-line comparison with what we're proposing. It makes a difference. By the time we're through going over this with them, I consistently hear comments like, I never understood my insurance before. I didn't know that's how this works. Whether it's a family buying a first-time home or it's somebody buying their finishing home, they all still make the same comments. They all still believe that. I honestly believe I'm part of a noble profession. It's just been watered down by the internet quite a bit. There's a lot of agencies that have adopted that same mentality that they can just throw quotes out really fast. And that's what's watered it down also. It's not taking the time and care with each client. I'll tell you, it costs my business a whole lot more money. It's a lot more overhead because we have to have more people for all these calls that we encourage to help with everything that comes up. It costs more money to do business this way, but we think it's the right way. I think it's the right way.
Now, I have to imagine when you have, let's say, 3 carriers that you're presenting, there's a point at which the client's eyes can start to glaze over when you're talking about deductibles, and I'm going back to my employee insurance days of the different nuances across these things. Do you pretty much have in mind what it is that they're going to need and how you're going to help direct them to solve that need?
We rarely give them 3 different carriers to choose from. And that's a really good point. I'm glad you asked that. It is typically too much for one. It does muddy the water. We will pull out whatever the best is out of all the dozens we put it through, and then we present that one solution along with comparison to how they're currently covered and what they're currently paying. Once in a blue moon, this only happened I think 3 times in our agency, it's odd. We'll come up with one carrier that has such an extremely low home quote but a high auto quote, and another carrier that had such an extremely low auto quote but a higher home quote. There was such a disparity that we broke it up. We didn't bundle those. It was still less to break it up. We will go to every extreme, not just pull out, okay, it looks like this one's going to be the best. That's what it is. We cover every angle. We cover every aspect of it. We leave no stone unturned to make sure that we're literally giving them the best possible solution available.
Now that sounds like something I'd want. Well, shifting gears, just doing a little bit of a pivot here back to our mountain communities. Talk about something fun that you've discovered about our side of the mountains over here on the U.S. Highway 285 corridor. I know that you've recently taken up a membership with the Conifer Chamber. What's been fun in this discovery process for Michele?
There are so many benefits to working in our mountain community. Clearly, the beauty of our natural surroundings. I've already told you how much I love our 4 seasons. I love being here. So I've got to tell you, that makes it fun for me. Every time we have a change in season, it literally does something for my soul. I could never be a left or a right coaster. I love being right here. I love every change of season. I love every snowfall. I love every yellow or red leaf. I love all of it. We love taking our grandchildren hiking on the upper trail at Maxwell Falls on Black Mountain Road. That's one. Oh, I'd say there's a unique spirit here also. Being in unincorporated areas makes a difference. Since we don't have a municipality in Conifer or Evergreen, it's huge. It means our local businesses are more involved, are more engaged. We're more apt to do something for our communities that we wouldn't have done had we had a municipality taking care of everything for us. We're it. We're what we have. Somebody has to step up, and I love that our local community and our local business owners truly step up. We make a stand. We do what needs to be done. That's huge in this community, and it's a huge difference. Another thing that's just fun is the small town atmosphere. Knowing your neighbors and business partners, that's huge. And you got to add to it that it's fun. It is a joy when you walk in any business and you know not just the business owner there, but 3 other people. It feels good. It feels like you're home constantly. It feels awesome. I love learning other people's stories. I love finding out what made them buy this business. What made somebody decide to stop what they were doing and start a radio station?
Insanity, Michele. It was insanity. Let's shift from some of the businesses to our nonprofits here. It's a special part of my heart right here as we're developing the radio station to be a future nonprofit. What have you discovered that's important to the nonprofit business community that perhaps you might be also insuring, like churches and other organizations? Anything to share there?
Well, through my involvement with Leadership Evergreen, Rotary, and the Evergreen and Conifer Chambers, I've had the privilege of getting an in-depth look at our local nonprofits and how they help sustain our community. It is nearly impossible to imagine our community without over 300 nonprofits. That's a lot for a small community, who meet the basic needs of so many residents. I'm especially impressed by the Mountain Resource Center. The MRC does an amazing job of meeting a full range of community needs. Good grief, their food pantry, job counseling, child health care services, early childhood classes are vital to helping so many families thrive. I am grateful for MRC's programs for their veterans. It is so important to honor and support our men and women who have sacrificed to preserve our freedoms. All I can say to that is thank you, thank you, thank you for your service. I'm so happy and honored to be in a community with you. Let's all please remember to thank those who have served. I believe that what we give with a generous heart comes back to us in more ways than we can possibly imagine.
What do you envision about the future of our mountain communities and what the future might look like here in about 10, 20 years time forward?
Well, I don't have a picture and a crystal ball to share with you today. However, here's what I'm hoping our community looks like in 20 years. My first wish is that we would have become a fire-ready community. We would see evidence of a healthy forest management that's minimized the danger of wildfires, awareness for the need for coordinated fire mitigation efforts, and that every citizen of our region will take personal responsibility for safeguarding their own property. Our firefighters, first responders, and local government leaders will be respected and supported, and 5 financial resources in place to keep our community safe. I've been honored to have been appointed to the Jefferson County Wildfire Task Force. In 20 years, it would be wonderful if our comprehensive plan had been fully implemented and a new task force was engaged in meeting a new set of priorities.
In addition to fire readiness, what else do you envision for our mountain communities in the next 20 years ahead?
Well, my second hope is that our 285 corridor, Conifer and downtown Evergreen merchants and small businesses will be thriving because a new generation will continue the tradition of supporting local businesses for the benefit of our entire community. We really are stronger together.
I totally agree with that. In fact, frankly, the format for the radio station is going to need to change here quickly between the classic rock that I'm featuring, and now I'm going to have to get to the Gen X and Millennials 90 and year 2000 forward music, which I don't have. So I very much understand what you're talking about, Michele. Let's shift back to our small business community in particular and maybe some comments you'd like to share.
Mark, ours is a great small business community. As a business owner, I understand the joys and struggles of operating a small business. I think it is a real advantage when we can support each other to achieve mutual success. As you and I were talking earlier today, That's exactly what makes the difference with my business. It has been an unintentional consequence. That's a very positive one, not a negative one, as a result of my promoting other businesses. When you do it from your heart and you really care about the rest of the community, it's amazing how the community gets back to you. It's just been awesome. Through Conifer Chamber and the incredible leadership of Melanie Swearingen, I have met so many new friends and advisors. Melanie and her team have made Conifer Chamber a go-to resource for marketing and education and networking. In fact, I have a lunch meeting scheduled with her in the next week or so over some marketing ideas and campaigns. Also, I'm so fortunate to have met business leaders like Bill Aubin, founder of Optic Commercial Capital, Katie Burgoyne of AmRamps, and Jan Worthen, owner of JJ Madwell's. These are incredible business people with incredible businesses that have a heart for our community. I love being associated with them.
Well, what interesting fact about you as Michele you'd like to share with our mountain communities? What is it about you you'd like some folks to know about?
Well, especially those who know me would be very surprised to know that until I came back to Evergreen this last time, I never had a public speaking engagement, and I do a lot of that now. I would have been scared to death. I didn't go to networking events, didn't know what to do. It wasn't until I came back to this community that I felt a duty and empowered to stand up for my community and for other businesses. It's amazing what this community does and how magical it's been for me personally and for my family. It's moving home. We've come home. There's another way to put this. We're home, and we're so happy to be here. This community changes people. Oh, and I truly believe it changes for the better. It's amazing. Responsibility to do what's right, or to quote a Disney line, to do the next right thing, really can make the difference. Here, I have become my most authentic self, and I'm so proud to say that I found my voice, and that I'm not afraid to stand up for what's right, and not afraid to stand up for what's needed.
Not afraid to come to Conifer Podcast either, I can see. Good for you. So as we close our discussion today, what encouragement do you have for our mountain communities, for the future of Evergreen, for Conifer and the 285 corridor?
I would encourage all of us to keep a few things in mind, especially during this pandemic. Be innovative and flexible. Our businesses have done such an exceptional job of delivering their products and services to customers in ways they never imagined before. They never explored before. I know of several businesses that are thriving more than they ever had before because of the changes they made that they never would have done without this pandemic. I know not everyone has had these successes, but I would encourage everyone to be thinking innovation and flexibility, something different. Collaboration is key. Building relationships. It makes all the difference in the world. Co-mingling your business, co-mingling ideas, co-collaborating with marketing. There's so many things with collaboration. It's key. It's key. Think of what you can do to help other businesses and each other. By supporting the success of others, I think success comes your way too. You cannot believe how what goes around comes around. It happens exponentially when your heart is turned outward, and I believe that with all my heart.
Well, you've obviously helped Conifer Radio. Again, I can't thank you enough for stepping forward to be a founding supporter. I know prior to our interview today, we had talked about the fact that I had noticed in the Canyon Courier the really neat articles that had been written about you, and that inspired me to think that folks like yourself would be stepping forward to be a founding supporter someday if I actually got this launched, and here we are. And you're right, being flexible is important. We are talking live and direct in studio from a mobile studio, and Michele was kind enough to come and join me and join us today in Conifer Podcast. So I want to thank you for your time today, your incredible continuing story. And would you like to join us again sometime for Coffee on the Corridor, Michele?
I am so glad you asked, Mark. I would love to. Thank you for having me today.
Michele, we look forward to it as well. This concludes today's featured story on Conifer Podcast.
To learn more about RPM and the advantages of working with an insurance broker, visit rpmagency.com or call Michele Robbins at 720-683-0010. Ask RPM for a complimentary evaluation of your insurance and a cost comparison of coverage options. Learn more at rpmagency.com. Life happens fast, so protect what matters most.